What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. Got a review for you. We're going to look at the Reate Exo M. Let's get into it. What we'll be doing today is we're going to do some size comparisons. We'll take a look at the profile and we'll check the weight on this, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. So let's kick it off with a couple of budget knives. First, here it is against the Miguron Moyarl. Really kind of similar in size, kind of going with the handle. You got a little bit more handle on the Reate Exo M, but you have very similar blade lengths. And then here it is against the Usability. I need to move this out the way. And as you can see, the Usability is going to be just a little bit bigger overall. And I really think the handle size on this makes it feel more full knife, but when you actually close it all down, it's very compact. All right, let's move these two out of the way. We're going to bring out another medium knife that I think compares very well in size, and that is going to be the Benchmade Bug Out. As you can see, the Bug Out very similar. You got more handle length on the Exo M, but very similar blade lengths. And then we're going to bring out the tactile knife Maverick, which is going to be a little bit longer overall. You got more length on both ends of the knife. Last two comparisons, and then we'll take a look at the profile. It's going to be the Spyderco Para 3, which is going to be a little bit smaller. And we'll move the Maverick out of the way, and we're going to bring over the Spyderco Shaman. And as you can see here, the Shaman is going to be just a little bit longer overall. So it's very much that medium-sized EDC, but you definitely have more handle length on it. Being that it's closer to the bigger size knives, let's do the profile comparison against those as well. Hang on one second. And we'll start with the Shaman since we have it here on the table. You can see here, not a very thick knife. It's actually just a little bit thinner without looking at the inlays than the Shaman. And then we will compare it against the Maverick, which is going to be thinner overall. Actually, they're pretty close in thickness when you're not looking at the inlays. When you add the inlays on there, I know it's a little hard to tell because they're the brown burlap micarta, and the table's brown, a little hard to tell, but you can tell it's a little bit thinner than the Moyarl, but it's very close to that tactile Maverick. Let's check the weight real quick. I didn't get a chance to do that. I'm going to move that up there. And there you go. This one probably coming in around 5 ounces, 4.3. Wow, it's actually lighter than what it feels in hand. All right. Now that we have all that out of the way, another thing that I'm going to do that's a little bit different when we're running through the size comparisons and we get to the weight, I'm just going to throw the specs up there really quick for you guys. This one is the second run batch. It has titanium all throughout. I believe even the hardware. Yeah, all the hardware and the pocket clip, the blade is throwing it off a little bit. Switch. Yeah, everything. I'm fairly confident it is titanium because when you get to the actual blades, I don't know what you would call that because it's not really the pivot. That is steel, which makes sense because you want that to be strong to secure the blade, but it's actually a little bit bigger than your typical pivot size, so it's actually holding on to more of the blade, and it's a beefier piece as well, which I do want to note. The titanium has this really beautiful cross mill pattern here, and it really does help for that detailed work where you want to choke up. Very grippy without being too aggressive. I really like that. They put jimping in both these spots here, so when you actually are holding onto the knife, it's very comfortable and it feels very secure. You have a little like quarter guard on the front and the back to keep the fingers from slipping because it is basically perfectly square. It looks kind of like a stick of butter almost from the side. With just this one little piece that's contoured here. They chamfered it down all around the edges, so no hot spots, even though it is kind of square. but it's very comfortable. They did a really nice job. I even like how they just kind of milled this piece in here. It looks like a second piece of titanium is laid in here, but it's actually part of the bottom. So when you actually open it up, you'll see that that doesn't move. It's actually because this onlay piece here drops down. Sorry, the blade started to deploy. It drops down onto this, and this part here is actually all part of the bottom unit. What I like about this one and why I didn't pick up the original, it's a more friendly size for EDC, and it has this lock here. So in the pocket, it's not going to accidentally slide out or start to open in the pocket with the pocket clip. You just gotta remember, and it really, because it's the only way that I've experienced this knife, the Exo, it's habit now to kind of lock it open, lock it out, lock it closed. Really nice. Like I said, this is very comfortable. The pocket clip functions very well. It's a little stiff. I've noticed that sometimes it'll kind of bunch up on the pocket going in and out of the pocket, which is why I brought that organizer out here to show you all that. So when you go to stick it in pocket, it kind of will just push down a little bit on the pocket. But once you get to a certain point, it'll just kind of go through and then completely drops down into the pocket, not leaving any of the knife exposed. So I like the pocket clip, but it is just, like I said, it's a little strong, and it kind of wants to keep it clamped to the knife when you go to put it in the pocket, but it's also going to keep it from flying out. I went with the drop point, and with the second batch, they did the Elmax steel, and it has a really beautiful finish. So it looks like they stone washed the blade, and then they went through and did the belt grinds after, and I really do like that how that contrasting finish looks on the blade. It's really nice. Came with a very nice factory edge. Just one, yeah, really good factory edge from Reate. No surprise whatsoever. So really well done. Since I'm getting low, I'm not going to do too many cuts. I can use that for some future ones. But I really am happy with this one, and it's just a really unique design. So I did some research on this, and what I could see is this was a very popular design from World War II. It looks like how they kind of carried this as a compact model, something that just slid out. It wasn't like an open folder. And I've had some people ask about how I think the stability is. Well, if you look at how much of the actual blade is left behind and how thick and big this actual piece here that's used for the slide to keep it in place, and it's pressed in, that's actually going to be pretty durable, and you have just as much as you do with an OTF left there. So I have no concerns about using this for breaking down boxes, whittling some wood. I'm not that concerned at all. Now, like OTFs, which this is technically, even though it is using gravity to deploy it, you don't have any deployment methods, but it is out the front. It is going to have that rattle when you have it opened, and then when you have it closed, you can kind of hear it in the pocket jiggle a little bit. So what's happening, like as you walk and you step, especially as heavy as I step, you can kind of hear that. Now, because I actually do not carry this as a primary, this is more like a secondary. I carry a folder as a primary. I'm usually carrying it in this organizer, and that kind of helps. That helps dull down the sound a little bit. But I honestly don't think it would be that bad in a pair of jeans or some khakis. I think, ooh, as I hit the microphone, I think it would be okay. And now, from a fidget factor, great sounds, but it is a little loud. And my wife even made the comment that she was like, I heard you fidgeting with something, and it sounded very weird. So it does have a lot of noises to it. So I mean, it can be a detriment if that's not really your thing. You're not into the sounds that your pocket knife makes when you're fidgeting with it. But I really do like the design and the uniqueness of the knife. But I also appreciate the fact that they made it pretty functional. It actually is very comfortable to hold. There's no hot spots. It really has a good thickness in the handle of the knife, and it's super slicey. They did a real good job with the finish on this Elmax. Just the nature of the beast, the tolerances that it has, it is going to be rattly, but when you're holding it to use it, it's no worse than an OTF in my opinion. So I really like this from a uniqueness perspective, but what I will say is that even though you have really good materials and a very premium build with a premium finish, for a gravity knife, for the price point that it's coming in at, it may be something that unless you're a collector, you may not really be into. What I didn't touch on though is this is really smooth burlap micarta, so you get the grainy finish, and I really do like the way that that looks, but I really love that they chamfer down all the edges because they do stand proud a little bit. And with those edges chamfered down, it's super comfortable in hand, and the smooth texture, the fact that they decided to finish that burlap smooth, really, really nice. Now, I did reach out to Carbodize. I know he said his books are closed, just to see if he has any capacity for aftermarket scales on here. I think there would be some fun options for this, but as it sits, I think it's a really good looking knife, really well built. I'm really excited about the fact that they decided to go with the Elmax steel and the pocket clip on it. Just a really unique piece, something very different in the collection, and I really like that. But let me know what you think about the Reate Exo M down in the comments below. Have you experienced this one? Did you get the 3V or did you get the Elmax? Do you have the original? And if you have the original, have you had any issues with it wanting to open? Because I think they shipped that one with a sheath so that it doesn't do that, but I'm not 100% sure, and my editor maybe can remember to throw that up there as well. Well, I just want to give a shout out to everyone out there that leaves the likes, comments, and is subscribed. I appreciate all the support. I love you guys. Hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.